Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated, Sorority Incorporated. Talk to me about how being a member of that sorority impacts the values and who you are and what you do and your career.
Sure. Um, I love being a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I think I was just, coming from Atlanta and going to an HBCU, it's really important to me to be surrounded by and to uplift my community, but especially, the Black community. And living in the Bay Area, I think you have to be even more intentional about that because it's so spread out. It's not always as diverse as where like the places that I come from. And so I wanted to be part of an organization that was having an impact on the community, but as a Black woman, that was also having a profound impact on the community that I came from. It's more impactful than what I could just do on my own, right? Like that impact is multiplied. And so that has, it's been a great honor. My godmother is an AKA, and she's the one who always had the dream for me. And she's one of the best women that I've ever met. One of the most giving, one of the most caring. And I'm surrounded by that now. And also, I would say being a part of the organization is just a reminder to me of to always be striving to be my best. Because I'm surrounded by women who are incredible and professional and poised and just hold themselves to a very high standard, and so I can't let that standard slip. I have to live up to that standard that they're setting for me. And so it's just I try to bring that spirit to everything that I do. And I'm just very, very fortunate to be part of an organization that pours into me and allows me to then pour into my community.
Love that. Love that. All right. So here's the transition question before we get to the final four. So we are hoping that this podcast is viewed and listened to millions and millions of people. A number of them probably know you. What's one
Mhm.
thing that people don't know about you that you wish they knew?
Oh, that's so hard because I'm such an open book. Um, I'm such an open book. What do I wish people knew about me? You know, oof. I think I wish that people knew that. Oh my gosh, I should have prepared better because
You're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
you're good.
this is such
So,
a
by
hard
the way, this is
question.
this is the typical response. You're not alone. Everyone goes through these series of thoughts and feelings, and you're not alone.
You know, I think I don't know that I want people to know this about me, but I am definitely a person who I thrive in organized chaos, and I'm extremely hard on myself. Because sometimes like I definitely have I would describe my style as warm but direct. So I've definitely had to work over the years on like, okay, that was really straightforward. And next time, like maybe massage that a little bit. But I think people know that I'm very empathetic. But I am very, very hard on myself. And so that's something I try to work on. It's like I feel like that saying, give yourself grace.
Mm,
Like it's become a big thing this last few years, especially during COVID, because we're all trying to give ourselves grace. That's not an
yeah.
area that I'm good at, giving myself grace. And so I think a lot of that is what drives me, is being so hard on
Mm,
myself. Um,
mm,
and the organized chaos part is just because like as an operator, quote unquote, like as somebody who does a lot of operations, I think like there's different ways to do that. Um,
mhm,
some people are very exacting, right? Like if they don't have all their stuff together, then they can't function. Whereas me, I'm the type that like if you could see my tabs open on my computer screen, I probably have, and I kid you not, like 260 tabs open at a time. But I can always find, like I have systems to find what I need. And it's helped me be successful, right? And so there is no one way to be successful, and especially like in operations and stuff like that. So I could probably be more successful if I was more organized, but it works for me. So I don't know if that gets to the heart of the question that you're asking, but
It
that's all I got for
does.
you right now.
Love it.
See,
Love it.
I thought I've been admiring that piece of art behind you. I thought you were going to say I'm a closet artist or I'm an expert art collector because that piece behind you is amazing. Is that a screensaver or is that really your art behind you or do you have a
No,
background?
this is my dining room. This is
Oh,
Love
so
it.
I am actually a big art lover. I would collect more if my husband was not so he's like, I do not want art on every inch of our wall. But we I have a lot of one of a kind art at my house. I love art. I could go and just walk around museums for hours. This
Nice.
the funny thing about it is this painting or piece of art was given to us by my cousin or my husband's aunt. And both my mother and his mother was like, ugh, like that. Like they were not fans of it at all. And we actually love it. So so I appreciate it because yes,
Yeah.
I love art and I could show
Yeah.
you so many pieces, but I won't.
Yeah.
well,
I love it. I love
awesome.
it.
Well, thank you. Well, the first question in the final four, if you were to have dinner with you and three others at the table, who would you want at your table, alive or dead, and why?
Um Bomani Jones. I'm a
Hmm.
big Bomani Jones fan. I'm a big sports fan, and I think he does such a beautiful job of blending kind of sports and politics. And
Yeah.
also, he lived in Atlanta for a long time, so he talks about Atlanta a lot. And I find him endlessly fascinating. So he would be one. Um, Muhammad Ali would be one. Muhammad Ali in his prime. My dad is a big collector and a huge Muhammad Ali. He was a stan before we knew what stans were. Okay, so his whole basement was
Okay.
covered in Muhammad Ali stuff, and I just, I've read a lot of books about him, and he's another
Mm.
person that I have so many questions that I would love to ask
Yeah.
around, even just like his decision not to be drafted and stuff like that. So he would be another big one. And then I would say my grandmother, um,
Oh,
just because, both of my grandmothers were incredible, incredible women. I was extremely close with, I call her Gami. That was my Gami, my name for her. But she lived in New Orleans and she was
Mm.
spicy and
Mm.
she passed away right before I got married. And
Mm.
so that, I would just love for her to see where I am now and
Mm.
my life and my kids, and be able to catch up with her. So I think those would be my top three.
Love it. Love it. What's been your greatest success?
My greatest success has been building the life that I have now.
Mm.
And I say that because I took a big risk in moving to the Bay Area. I knew two people. I had never been here before. I knew two people. And I really I had to build my network. I had to build my friends, like I had to, and as y'all know, making friends as an adult, where you don't have a
Yeah.
school to bring you together or things like that
Right. Right.
is
Right.
not easy.
It's not.
Um, and I feel really proud of myself that I was able to stand on my own 2 feet, to take a risk, to try something completely new for myself and living in a place that I had visited one time, and that was the interview for my job. And now I'm married, I have kids, I'm in a sorority, like I've built this career. And so I think my biggest success is just the life that I have built for myself, because there's nothing
Mm.
wrong with going home, like I think it's amazing and I'm trying to go back home, to be quite honest. But, you know, to know that I was able to do this without having my family here or having, like, I really didn't have any crutch to lean on, right? I had to
Mm.
like make it for myself, or not. That makes me feel extremely proud.
Love
that's
it.
awesome. You had to sink or swim, and you swam.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the third final four question is what is your superpower? What is something that's uniquely Erica? Superman flies, the Hulk has his strength, the Flash is really fast. What is your uniquely you superpower?
So this is going to sound really conceited, and I don't mean it to be, but I think I'm a really good mentor. Like I really love sharing my knowledge and my experience with folks who are, you know, coming after me in some way or who seek my guidance. Like, I really care about developing people or helping them develop. And I think part of that is because people have poured into me so much in my life. But I feel like any job that I have, I'm always asked to, like, can you work with this person? Can you mentor this person? Or just naturally it happens. And a lot of the folks that I've worked with in the past, like the things that they say about me, the things that are most impactful for me and most meaningful have to do with my willingness and ability to mentor. And I think part of that is just because like I'm very honest. I'm honest about the struggles that I've had. I'm honest about where I'm good and not good. And I try to create a safe space for other people to be honest, whether that's you need to fall apart and you need somebody there to listen, or you need somebody to be really real with you and be like, okay, girl, the way that you doing this is not is not the way. But let's talk about the way. Um, so I think that if I had a superpower, I think my ability to pour into people in that way, but in a really authentic way,
Mm.
and just being truthful and being honest and using my own story to help guide them, that would be my superpower.
But you know what? I just want to circle back because I didn't see anything conceited in that. Everyone would love to have a mentor that would put them on the right path or be direct with them because when you're dealing with founders, they want to, I would imagine they want to know the truth. They want to know the harsh truth because your directness saves me money.
Yeah,
So,
some people do. Some people want the truth, but yeah, some people.
yeah. You can insult me for, I don't care if you insult me, but don't cost me any money. I'd rather take the insult for free than let me be
Yeah.
feeling good about myself and I just lost a couple grand. It's like, oh man.
Can I go back to a question? I'll be really
Yes, you
brief.
Yes, of
can.
course.
Yeah,
Okay,
anytime.
so the question about what do I wish people knew about me? It takes me back, Smiley, to the conversation that you and I had months ago when I met you. I was a rape crisis counselor for 10 years. And I, again, I fell into that because I got into an argument in college. And I still remember the exact person I was arguing with, but I won't call them out. I got into an argument about Kobe Bryant, and I was
Uh-huh.
super passionate about the argument. And he was like, "Have you been a victim before?" And I hadn't been.
Right,
I
right.
had not been, but it did make me question, like, why am I so passionate about this? And so I decided to just volunteer at a rape crisis center. And you have to
Mm,
go through every state that you want to volunteer, and you have to be certified, and it takes like 40 hours.
mm,
So I got certified in Atlanta. Then when I went back to school, I got certified in Florida. When I moved here, I got certified. And the reason I would want people to know that about me is because I think that set me on a path to make sure that I was infusing purpose into every aspect of
mm,
my work. Because when I went back to Tallahassee, they didn't have just a rape crisis center. So it was a place called Refuge House, which is a really incredible organization. But they also did domestic violence support. So I did rape crisis support groups. I helped people get restraining orders as my actual like paying job. I worked in their thrift store that benefited battered women. I worked in their nursery, where women would bring their kids who were staying in the shelter. And so I always thought that I was going to work in nonprofits for the rest of my life. That's what I thought I was going to do. And then I realized like my lifestyle did not it was not conducive to that at the time. But I remember my old
right,
boss,
right.
this woman Elaine Davis, who was my boss at the courthouse. She told me, she said, one of the beautiful things about you is that you have a business mind but a social worker. And so
Oh,
I have really tried to infuse that level of care and empathy and purpose and impact that I got from being an advocate for survivors into the work that I do day to day. And I've always looked for opportunities within my organization to make an impact. So at my first job at Outcast, we had a philanthropy program, and at the time it was kind of defunct, like they weren't really doing anything with it. And I was like, hey, can I revive this? And they're like, sure, please. And that's
Wow.
really how I
Wow.
started doing social impact work within my career.
Mm.
Um, so people see now, they see the work that I do and they see the impact, but I don't think most people know that that's kind of what started me on this
Mm.
path. So the work looks different, right? It's not for
Wow.
the same cause necessarily, but the part of it is still the same.
Two things come to mind as you share that. One is it was clear to me that you had to figure out a way to afford the red bottom heels, but still get but still get back to the community. The second thing, more seriously, is that yeah, you really at your core, it's clear to me you were all about pouring back into the community. This is something that you started in Atlanta, on to Tallahassee. Now that you're in the Bay Area, and it's just grown. It's just grown since
Yeah.
then, which is just um, it's beautiful. You know, people we don't meet too many. We had a guest recently, Smiley and I. And at the conclusion of that interview, we both would stood out to us as, wow, that guy's really selfless. You also have that. It's like a, I don't know if it's a gene or what it is, but you clearly have kind of a selfless soul or whatever it is. I don't know how you would describe it, and it's refreshing to
Thank
see.
you.
It's refreshing to see. So.
Thank
The
you
last
so
Final Four
much.
question. Yeah, yeah, no problem. If you were to write an autobiography, what would the title be?
Oh my God, I've thought about this actually a lot. Um, if I were to write an autobiography, I think I think it might be called Organized Chaos. I really do.
Ah,
I think it might be called Organized Chaos, just because I feel like that's how I function sometimes. And from the outside, it doesn't look like that, but from the inside, it can feel kind of chaotic. But it's me, right? It's the way that I have come to be. I feel like it would be cliche to say it would be something about giving back. It probably would, but
okay.
but I think if I had to describe myself um, in that way, because even if I have a journal, and that's what I wrote the title. It's called Organized Chaos, and I think it's more so because it just gives me permission to not be perfect, to be a little
Mm,
messy, because life is messy. And
sure.
so I've tried to embrace like all the areas of my life, whether that looks chaotic or not. So I think that would be it. But I don't expect that I would write an autobiography because there's too many things that I would have to leave out for my parents' sake. So, so it really doesn't matter.
You
awesome.
can you can change you can change the names to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
Uh, no,
No,
my parents
that
would
would work.
know.
Huh? That
So
would
yeah,
work.
no, it's not too many innocent people in these stories. So
It's more like names are changed to protect the guilty.
right, right.
Yeah,
Well,
trust me, I'm taking mine to the grave, so I understand.
Yes, no, thank you.
Yeah,
well,
Smiley.
Erica, I am so excited that one, meeting you, and two, for you to be on the podcast. So thank you very much for sharing your wisdom, your experiences, and your awesomeness with us and our listeners. Thank you very, very much.
No, thank you
It's been
all, and thank
refreshing.
y'all for the work that you're doing with this podcast. And just there's so many incredible people doing incredible things, and so I just love learning about them through this platform.
Awesome,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks for being on the pod.
Thank you.